I'm going to be ranking the best power forward cards right now in NBA 2K23. My team, we got a tier list here ranking from S that goes all the way down to D tier, and we have about 25 to 30 of the best power forwards in the game right now. And guys, let me know in the comment section down below who are some of your guys' favorite power forwards to run right now in the game, and of course, let me know what you guys would change about my tier list. But starting off with probably a controversial take, I'm going Anthony Davis in B tier. I really don't think this card is that amazing at power forward, but I will say he is still a very good card. I just think compared to all of the other amazing power forwards in the game that have recently been dropping, I do think Anthony Davis is probably somewhere in B tier. Yes, he's going to be a good defender stats and badges wise, but he is only 6'10", you know, with a decent player model, nothing too crazy in game. But the big thing and the big flaw with this card is his jump shot only being on quick time, and like besides that, he's got a lot of good stats, a lot of good badges, even some really good animations and tendencies as well. It just comes down to the fact that his jump shot's super baited at that power forward position. Ben Wallace, even though it might seem crazy, I think is on that same tier compared to an Anthony Davis. I think Ben Wallace is super underrated. He's just so overpriced because he does lock in for that dark matter Dikembe, but he's not that bad at power forward. He's only 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan, but he's going to give you just as good as defense at AD, or maybe even a little bit better with a 98 block, 98 steal, 96 perimeter, and a 98 interior defense. And crazy enough, I actually like Ben Wallace's jump shot a little bit more than Anthony Davis's. I think he's got a better jump shot, he's got better dribble sigs, he plays probably better defense in game. I mean, Ben Wallace might even be better than Anthony Davis, as crazy as that does sound, but they're both going to be in B tier in my opinion. Jonathan Bender, I think, is so much better at small forward, but he's still 7 foot, 2 inches or 3 inches actually taller than Anthony Davis. Or 2 or 3 inches, I don't even know math. I think it's 3 inches, but it's 2 inches. Sorry, it's 2 inches between Anthony Davis and Jonathan Bender, and 3 inches between Ben Wallace and Jonathan Bender. So he's still a really tall power forward, and just offensively, he can definitely hang with the tall power forwards in the game. Can he stop a Kareem, a Taco, a Dikembe? Obviously not, but if it's like a Jokic, if it's a Yee, if it's a Dino, he can contain and compete with those cards, and he's going to be super nice on the offensive end. Even though I do think this card is a lot better at small forward, I still think he's one of the better power forwards in the game, probably top 10, top 15 power forwards. Blake Griffin, I just threw him on this list because I needed a couple more power forwards, and I know he just recently came out, and a lot of people do like Blake Griffin in real life, so I wanted to include him on this tier list. But realistically, he's probably one of the worst power forwards. He's just got to go in D tier. On the flip side of that, Taco Fall, he's got to go in S tier. I think you can make an argument this is the best power forward in the game. I mean, he should not be as good as he is. I mean, 2K23 is just terrible gameplay wise, so the fact that this card is the best is just, I mean, he shouldn't be. He's only got 64 speed, 64 acceleration, but the fact that he's 7'6" with an 8'2" wingspan, he legit runs like he has 85, 80 speed. Like, he feels so much faster in game. He's also got a pretty solid jump shot and plays some very elite defense, especially on the inside. He's just one of the more glitchy cards in the game, and you can make a legit argument he's a top 5 power forward. Bob Nedelecki, I think, is gonna, you know, pretty nicely fit into that C tier category. You could argue B. I think you could argue B tier for Bob Nedelecki, but I don't know. Actually, I will go B tier. You know what? I will go B tier for Bob Nedelecki. I think he's kind of on that same tier as a Ben Wallace and Anthony Davis as well. He's only 6'9", but he's going to be really good on the offensive end. You know, a better offensive card than Ben Wallace, where Ben Wallace is going to be so much better on defense. But I would say it's fair to have them both in the B tier category. Chris Bosh, he's got to go A tier in my opinion. A really good stretch big, got a good jump shot. He's 6'11", 7'3" wingspan, I do believe, and does play very good defense. So I think overall, he's a dark matter card. I think he's better than Anthony Davis, so I do believe he's probably in that A tier category. Charlie, I think is B. I think he's a very underrated power forward in the game. He's got an amazing jump shot. I don't exactly remember what his base and what his upper is. It's the Rui Hachimura base and the Tim Hardaway Jr. upper. It's a really good jump shot on very quick timing. He's got some okay dribble sigs. His stats are pretty good. I would say he's B tier. I would say, I mean, you could maybe argue C. I think he's on the same level as like a Bob Nedelecki or a Ben Wallace, kind of in that range. Now, Dikembe Mutombo, I will keep an A tier for now because I think this card is just so much better at the center position, but I feel like he might get moved up to S tier later in the video, because the way that I do my S tier is I like to have the top 5 card each position or whatever tier list I'm doing. So this will be the top 5 power forwards in the S tier category. So is Dikembe a top 5 power forward? I'm not 100% sure, so I will keep him in A tier for now, but I do most likely think he'll probably end up in S tier at the end of the tier list. But yeah, Dikembe is an absolute monster. Once again, like I said, I do think he's better at center, but even at the power forward position, he's going to be super glitchy because he's 7'2" with a 7'6" wingspan, has a great player model. His defense is ridiculous. I mean, they gave him a very solid jump shot. Like, it's a very easy jump shot to green. He can even dribble a little bit. They gave him the MJ dribble style, Kobe Bryant escape, Tatum size up. Like, I know he's only got a 70 ball handle, but he can still move a little bit for your power forward and your big man as well. So for me, Dikembe probably going to be somewhere in A. I think our first C tier power forward is going to be this Chet card. I actually think he's better at center. I think his just player model is a lot better at the center position because he's really not that fast in game. So I think all around Chet probably going to be in C tier. Dino, I think you got to give Dino, I would say, at least A tier. I think you could argue B. You know, I'm gonna go B. I think I'll go B for now. I like him more than Anthony Davis. I like him more than Ben Wallace. I think he's probably the worst power forward in A right now. Him and Chris Bosh could be somewhat of a debate, but I would say Dino's probably an A tier. Dirk Nowitzki, though, I do feel like he's in B. I think he's kind of just that one step down below with Dino Raja. A very solid power forward. I would say one of the weaker ones in B tier, kind of on that same tier as like a Bob Nedelecki and a Charlie card. Galaxy Dolph Shays, I mean, he's 6'8", barely plays any defense in game. I just think he's got to go in C tier. Still has one of the most smooth and buttery jump shots in the game for a power forward. Him and Bob Nedelecki have great jump shots, but the thing about Bob is that he has really good animations in game, and he has way better defensive stats and badges to make up for the fact that he's only 6'9", where Dolph Shays is 6'8" and doesn't really have the best defensive stats or badges as well. Dark Matter D-Rob, 1000% I do think is a top 5 power forward in the game. I will say, at the power forward position, it's a really close debate between Dikembe and D-Rob in my opinion. I think Dikembe is the better center than D-Rob because of his player model, the fact that his defense is just so elite, but I do think at the power forward position, I think that's where stuff gets a little bit closer. So for now, I'll have Dark Matter D-Rob in the S tier category. Evan Mobley, I think a solid A tier. I don't know if he's on that B tier level. He might be, but I feel like his jump shot really isn't the greatest. So I'd go Evan Mobley in B tier. Jump shot is a little bit baited and a little bit slow, but he's still going to be such a good defender with amazing defensive stats. Am I crazy to say Shaq also in B tier? I know he can't shoot threes, but I just feel like you need to be able to shoot threes this late in my team. Like, his jump shot is just so hard to use in game, but he does everything else at such a high level. So let me know, where would you guys personally put Shaq? Because I know there's going to be a bunch of people probably that love the Shaquille O'Neal card and going to want him in A or S tier, and that's fair. Like, I think if you know how to use him and you're really good with Shaq cards, you know how to take advantage of him, he definitely can be an A tier or maybe even S tier power forward. I just think for me personally, if you can't shoot at this time of the year, for me and my lineup specifically, I just don't personally like cards that I feel like are a liability on the offensive end with the fact that you can't shoot threes of them. But let me know where you guys would personally put Shaq. I know some people might even put him lower, and some people will definitely put him higher as well. Glenn Davis, I mean, he's just going in D tier. He's not like absolutely terrible. He's just got 85 stamina, and it really hurts the card. If he didn't have 85 stamina, I feel like he would be a lot more usable, but he just runs out of gas so early. I would say Giannis probably in that A tier category. I think he's one of the better A tier power forwards so far. I like him, you know, kind of on the same levels like a Bosch. I think he's a little bit better than Dino at the 4, and maybe even better than Jonathan Bender. That's kind of a close debate. Depends what you need at your power forward position. Jokic, I would say, is on the same level as like a Dirk Nowitzki. Another really just good power forward. I mean, he can shoot the lights out, play solid defense in game. They actually gave him 90 speed, so he can actually move a little bit with the ball in his hands, and he doesn't feel as sluggish as most Jokic cards do. So one of my favorite power forwards to use when he first dropped, and all around, I would say he's still probably in that B tier spot. Kevin Garnett for me, I think, has got to be an A tier. A very just all around consistent good power forward in the game. Nothing too crazy about the card. He just does his job. He plays good defense. He knocks down threes. If you need him to move a little bit, he can. He has decent dribble sigs. I mean, just all around is a very good power forward in the game. Kristaps, I think at the power forward position, I would also potentially take him over Dikembe. I think that's the closest debate is between these three guys. I think at the center position, I like Dikembe personally over KP and D-Rob, but at power forward, I think Kristaps and D-Rob might be a little bit better because their jump shots and their 3-ball rating are a little bit higher, and they're able to space with the floor, and they also do have a little bit more speed with D-Rob. And Kristaps has just got such a good jump shot. So I think for me personally, I'll leave it like this for now, but I might honestly end up moving Dikembe into the S tier category. Moses Malone, gotta go A tier. I know A tier. I know like nobody has this card. Like I personally don't have him. I haven't even used him, but I know he's a really good card. I've seen gameplays on him. I've seen him in game multiple times. He is a very, very good power forward. I just don't know I don't know if he's kind of in that S tier category. I would say definitely not a top 5 power forward, but I still think you got to throw him in A tier. Nate Thurman, I think C tier. He's an okay power forward, nothing too crazy. I would say he's probably C tier. Kareem, I do think is either the best or the second best power forward in the game currently. I think it's him and Taco for number 1 and 2, and I stand behind that. Like, I think D-Rob's really good, Kristaps is really good, and even Dikembe and a lot of these guys in A are really, really good, but I think these are the 2 best power forwards. They're just so dominant. Kareem being super fast, just all around an absolute beast, and then Taco Fall being 7'6", and that's pretty much all you need to know. Tyler Hansbrough, I would say B tier. He's either just like a little bit better than Bob or a little bit worse than Bob Nedelecki, both 6'9" and play very good defense in game. And then to round off the list is going to be another B tier power forward, which is going to be the Galaxy Yi. So now guys, let me know in the comment section down below, to fill that 5th and final spot in S tier, which power forward from A tier or maybe even B tier would you guys put in that S tier category? For me, I think it's going to be Dikembe Mutombo. I think he's the 5th best power forward in the game, maybe number 4 depending if you like Taco, if you like a D-Rob or a Kristaps. But overall guys, that's going to be my power forward tier list. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comment section down below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.